You're now listening to the Stronger Inside podcast, where we break down all things regarding health, fitness, and wellness to help you improve your mind, body, and environment. And now, your host, Wayne, a.k.a. Workout with Wayne, and Ernest, a.k.a. Mr. 100 Pounds Down.
Welcome back to Stronger Inside podcast. It has been a little while. We took a little hiatus. We're back. Hope nobody thought we were gone for good. You know, we're just taking a little break and
can't get rid of us that easy.
Nope. So we've been on a little break. What you been up to, Ernest?
Whew. We've been busy, man. We just sold our home. So me and my wife, we sold our home. So we're in the process of building another home. So
Congrats.
Thank you, sir. And so we're in the process. So right now we are living with my mother. It's a blessing to have the ability to come back home and continue to stack some paper while we wait for the house to be built. So that's been going on. You and I have been working on a little side project as well. So more on that later. Yes. Yeah. We call that a tease in the business. We call that a tease. but on a personal note for me, I'm down about 130 now. So continuing to progress to that goal where I can then work on maintaining. So so continue to work on myself and getting more fit. So that's what's been going on with me, man. Yeah, but yeah,
130. That's a big change.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a middle schooler, ain't it? Yeah, I lost about a seventh grader.
I wasn't 130 in middle school.
Oh shit. Sheesh. Okay, that was me in middle school. Yeah. Well, 130. When you was a freshman?
I probably finished high school at like 175.
Okay, so all right. Well, I'm never gonna lose a senior Wayne Washington. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to get rid of a senior Wayne Washington. We'll see. I don't know. We don't know because for me,
I think you got another 40 pounds in you.
Right. So that's the thing. So I had a goal, and now that I'm getting closer to that goal, I'm like, I think I could push through that. So so we small goals in between. We get to the major goals, and so I'm about 3 pounds away from my next weight goal before I move on to the next. It's all a work in progress.
Yeah. We've been working on this extra project. You guys will probably see that at the end of the year, possibly beginning of the year, December, January timeframe. Something me and Ernest are working on. I'm really excited about that. So that's taken bulk of my time outside of training and doing things for myself as well. So yeah, I'm feeling good about this. I'm enjoying it. Something that I enjoy doing. So I think it'll be something that everybody will enjoy, something people can learn from. We'll give a little bit more information as we get closer to releasing that and continue with the process, but it's something I'm really excited about. Like I said, it's going to really help be another tool, another resource for us to help people learn about themselves and pretty much improve their mind, body, and environment. We wanted to come back strong. We didn't want to just come back and say, hey, we're back and let's talk about cardio or, what are some healthy fats I can eat? That's information.
Is bread good for you?
Like those are some pretty normal topics, and those are things that you can just Google yourself. And there are also things that just having information does not help you make the changes necessary to reach your goals. The podcast is called Stronger Inside for a reason. The discussions that we have, the conversations we have, the breakdowns of information, statistics, all those things are so that you can make a change internally and then everything else can fall in place instead of us just always kind of giving you some basic facts or some basic tools to get to where you want to get to. We covered a lot of those things early on. and we still will get to the basics, but I think this next go round of episodes we'll be able to dig a little bit deeper into certain topics and then expand out into some more things, because there's only so much of macronutrient, protein, carb, fats you can talk about before it gets repetitive. All right, go ahead and introduce that topic for us.
Well, Wayne, today we got a doozy of a topic. All right, Wayne, so today's episode is titled, Do Fat Lives Matter?
Wow. So, quick disclaimer, this is not a political podcast. If you're about to go turn the podcast off and you're having political fatigue and you're tired of hearing these things, this is not what we're here for. So again, this is going to stay within the realm of health and fitness, but it's just something we thought that we could discuss. We've touched on it a little bit. I believe episode 5 was our Why is America So Fat and Unhealthy? And we'll probably pull a little bit from that episode and kind of take the conversation a little bit further. So yeah, that's a strong title. It might have caught some people's eyes. Do Fat Lives Matter?
Caught my eye.
Caught your eye?
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, we've seen these phrases all over. I mean, depending on, doesn't matter what you believe in or what your philosophies are. We've seen blank lives matter everywhere. We've seen different variations of that phrase, and we just wanted to say it just got me thinking. It got me thinking. I did come up with this topic. Take some heat off of Ernest. So when you start throwing your tomatoes, throw them my way. Don't ruin his shirt. So I got you. I ain't gonna throw you to the wolves, Ernest. So
nah. This is it's not a throw to the wolves situation. Nah, we got this.
So the question is, do fat lives matter? So what I will say and start off with saying is, we believe that everybody matters, but we just want to take the discussion further. That reminds me, my elementary school song was at Rockledge Elementary. It started off, Rockledge is the place where everybody matters. This is something that we push upon everybody and let everybody know that yes, you are special, you matter. But as adults, there's some different things that come into play. So when we hear that phrase, what is fat? We've talked about it before. It's a technical term, a medical term, obese, meaning that your BMI is over 30. And that's a place where some preventable diseases start to show their head. And there's a lot of other issues that come into play when we're in that BMI. So with just that title, what does that make you think, Ernest? What comes to mind when you hear that title?
So when I hear "Do Fat Lives Matter," it makes me wonder: do people who have a higher BMI, people who are larger, do they get the same respect, same opportunities, the same level of engagement that we give people who are more fit?
Good question. If we do or if we don't, I guess my question is, in a perfect world, every person would get equal respect, opportunities, engagement, all those different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would all pretty much just be completely equal.
Utopia.
in a utopia, exactly. But that's not where we live, and we never will. And I think that sounds harsh, but I don't think it should be harsh, because are we naive to think that at some point we will reach human perfection to where every person is able to look at each other as completely equal? And then, I just don't think we'll ever reach that point. So, it's not to say we shouldn't try to improve on things, but I guess what I'm saying is, no matter who you are, you're going to be different, and there's always going to be some variables within the things that you have access to, the way people treat you, the way people look at you. And then there are some things that you can control that also move those variables to where the way people treat you, look at you, opportunities you may have, some of those things are in your control as well. So you're always going to have a mix of those things, and that's going to make you unique. So unique people, everybody's different. Everybody has their own makeup of combination of things, and that's what you're going to get from the world. Some of the things that we can't control in some of the parts of the world will treat you differently. But in terms of something like we said, when it comes into weight, when it comes into body fat accumulation, basically, unless you are in a very, very, very small percentage of the world who has medical conditions that absolutely you can't do anything about, you're able to control your weight. Again, we're not talking about outliers. When we're having any discussions based upon the general population, we're not going to talk about outliers unless that's something that we're singling out. So we're talking about people on average, and on average, you have control over that, right? Would you agree on that?
I'm learning that. I do. Yeah, there was. Well, I guess I've always known I've had control over it, but it was exercising that control that was, was the issue, or exercising in general, I guess.
Yeah. But the most important part was nutrition.
Right.
So I just want to take a look and say, if somebody is, I guess, not receiving the same respect, opportunities, engagement, and they are in that obese range. And again, we have a separate categories of obesity to where when we're talking about, on the BMI scale of being 40 and over, we're morbidly obese. But yeah, would you say those populations do receive different treatment?
So based off some things that I've read, I would say yes, they do. I guess studies have shown that they are slower to be promoted in certain jobs. They are, they might work longer hours, but not get the same opportunities in their professions. And then you just have the stigma of just going out in public and being stared at or gawked at, and where others, can go about their day and go about an average day and not really be affected by, the outside world staring at them or laughing or this, that, and the other.
I would say 100% that yes, that does happen within that population. I love watching documentaries. I watch a lot of reality TV, even though reality TV isn't always the best showcase of reality. But we're not talking about the cheesy stuff. We're talking about just where people actually do give you a glimpse into their personal lives.
Not The Bachelorette. Not.
You're funny, man. No,
that's because never mind.
No. We're talking about other stuff. But and so these things are part of life. So I completely understand that, and that those things do happen. And I guess where the question is, if you are able to control something, because I've read a lot of things, and we talked about the health at any size movement and the body positivity movement. That's something that's in your control. So if you don't like how you're being treated due to that, wouldn't you want to change that? Now, that sounds shallow, but let's take it a step further. It's not about changing for other people, but we have to take a look. There just is a direct correlation between health and weight. And if somebody doesn't agree with that, then I mean, there's really no conversation we can have. We just have enough data. Ernest, you can use your own personal life to show that, where you are today and where you were when you were 400 pounds, your health is different. Your quality of life is different.
Absolutely.
So if you've changed those things right now, then you've kind of, for your health, there wasn't a superficial reason for you to make these changes. You change these for your health. You change it to be there for your family as long as possible within your control. The byproduct of that was you losing weight and putting yourself in a better body composition.
Right.
And then with that, because we're not doing it a silly way, you've changed your nutrition, you changed your diet. So now you are overall healthier because again, you have all the metrics to show and your doctor's proven it. So you don't have to worry about some of those things that are, as you said, those opportunities that aren't there, the way people may treat you in public, any of those different things. You don't really have to worry about that because you have put yourself first. And I guess what I'm saying is you told yourself that you matter. So you told yourself that you matter. You did things for the right reasons to improve your health. And then the byproduct is your body has changed. And I don't even have to use the words for the better. Your health has changed for the better. It's subjective to say if your body's changed for the better.
My wife would say so.
But guess what?
Right.
If that's how you feel, it's how you feel. So now you don't even have to worry about those issues about, there's some crazy phrases out there, thin privilege and some things that I've read and seen, but you don't have to worry about being treated a certain way anymore. So let me ask you this. When you were around 400 pounds, did you feel any discrimination or way people treated you, or any stories or anything like that? Was there anything that stood out the way that you were treated by either people you knew or people, strangers?
So there's been times where I've thought I knew I was capable of a promotion or the ability to be promoted, or I've seen opportunities for other people open up magically or be created for them. But for me and for my career, those things, there was pushback to make those things happen. And so I often wondered if that was a part of it. Now I worked in an environment where most of the people around me were fit because it was a military environment. And so I didn't know if that played a role in it or not, or if it was just a product of, people coming out of the service and them being, taken care of. And so I had to then, in order to get what I wanted, I had to then leave and go somewhere where people necessarily didn't know who I was, right? So there was no, when you're applying for these jobs and things like that, there's not a picture that gets sent with your job, with your application. There's not a height, weight standard that is sent with your application. And so it was kind of just off my merit, but based off what I knew and my qualifications, and that's how I got the current job that I have now. And so I often wondered if that played a role or not. I recently went back and visited my old job, in the new 100 pounds down body. And so it was good to see some of the people in there. I guess one of the guys who when I told him I was leaving, didn't take that as an opportunity to, try to get me to stay. So I went and I saw him and I, said hello and all that good stuff. And he said, are you back visiting, or are we hiring you back? And you know what I told him, Wayne?
What?
You couldn't afford me. Straight up told him. I was like, you couldn't afford me. But so I'm just visiting. Yeah. So but it was
so what did the people say when they seen you?
You look good. You look like, what I'm saying? You look strong. You look fit. You're smaller. Or some people be like, oh, you're skinny. but I'm like, I'm not far from skinny. Let's not get it
Yeah.
twisted. But yeah, so you get those comments where, man, you look really good. I'm happy for you. How then it goes to the whole spiel about how's the family doing, all that. But
Yeah.
everybody is proud of the transformation. Ultimately, it was about, like you said, changing for myself and my health, right? Making sure that I knew that me being here long term is what mattered to me, right? My health, my well-being, my ability to support my family and be here for them is what mattered. And in order for me to do that, I had to really look in the mirror and say, I got to get this under control.
Yeah. Yeah. But what, and just non-job related, I'm talking about just going to the grocery store, just sitting. I mean, sitting in the pew in church. I mean, just were there other things where
Well, you get the comments, right? So, man, you're a big guy, and it's not always about being tall. I'm like, I don't know you. Like, why are you talking to me like that? Or you turn a corner down an aisle and then they like scoot to the side. I'm like, I could, like, the whole cart is in front of me. I can fit down. Like, you don't have to move out of my way. Like, it's none of that's going on.
yeah.
And then you get the names, the nicknames, the biggies, big man, or you get the opposite, the tiny. What's up, tiny? And then you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, so you get those types of just comments that, how many nicknames do you have?
Me?
Yeah, that are related to your size.
None.
There you have it. So
None.
it's like, yeah, if you're really big, you get a nickname. If you're really small, maybe you get a nickname. But the average person, nobody's nicknaming you based off your size. And so, at least for
Well,
men, I'm not sure how.
I will say, in terms of people making comments on your appearance, I mean, there are times where people make just comments on athletic build, to where there's no nickname attached to it, but there is there is certain comments that are made depending on what you're doing. So, but again, it's completely different, and those type of comments are probably more of a or complimentary versus a comment upon somebody's size to where, oh, you're big, or whatever
Right.
whatever they're saying.
Yeah,
So
just social commentary. Like they got they're Jerry Seinfeld all of a sudden.
they're narrating their day.
They're just narrating your day. Big man coming through.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So, but with that, I have seen it kind of flip a little bit now that I am fitter. I told the story to you a couple of weeks ago. I was in the grocery store and random guy walked up to me and was like, how much you lift, man? You swole, or something along those lines. Like, you benching 340? It's like, not quite.
Yeah.
But
So that's what I was saying, to where, again, if people will comment on appearance, and there are times where it could be friends or stranger, whatever, to where somebody's saying something to where it is, you be in a restaurant, or more so like a bar settings or something, where there's more people are closer, and it's like, oh, you eat French fries? Huh, I didn't think you could do that, or something like that. To where, again, they're making a comment to your size, to your appearance.
mm-hmm.
So but I understand where you're coming from, and again, there's usually not a nickname or anything attached to that. So are you seeing that there is a different experience from your day to day, from being 400 pounds to being where you are now?
Yeah, I would think so. I think the biggest tell will be when COVID kind of is over and we go back to the office environment.
Yeah.
And I'm around people more often, because right now my coworkers consist of my wife, my son, and my mother.
Yeah.
So, I see them every day and all day. And so I think out in the world, when people see me, the new me, who knew the old me, because we've been at this COVID thing for about 6 months now.
Yeah.
And so my body has changed a lot, I think, in those 6 months. And so going back to that environment, I think I'll be able to tell a lot more.
What about strangers in terms of, I know you touched on the random guy in the grocery store, but and do you feel like there's more of a blend in?
Probably. I think I do blend in more now. I am probably taller than most people in, average America, but I think for the most part, my width my width blends in a lot more with people, and so I don't stand out as much. I remember one story. Me and my wife were in Hawaii, and there was a group of women from they were Asian women, and so they were taking a picture somewhere, and they saw me, and then they was like, they didn't speak English, but they wanted to take a picture with me because I guess they never seen someone as large as me before, right? And it was very weird and very awkward.
Yeah.
We were in a situation where it was like just me and my wife, and it was like a beautiful sunset, and we kind of needed one of them to take our picture.
Okay.
So
you traded it off.
So it was like I had to reciprocate, and so it was very weird. But it was like, okay.
You didn't ask one of them to get in your picture?
I did not, because I did not. I didn't really need that. But so that was probably one of the experiences was like where I didn't know if it was. So I thought it was maybe cultural, and then me being as tall as I was. But then, I always try to. I think a lot of times in those situations, I try to think that I try to let it be my height and less about my weight.
Well, you're not 7 feet.
I'm not 7 feet. Not at all. Not in my. Not at all. Yeah.
It's very possible they've seen a 6'3" person before. But I'm no mind reader.
Oh man, yeah. So it was Yao Ming, Shaq, and then me. That's what they was like. Yo, this is Shaquille O'Neal's brother.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, but I just wanted to see, in contrast to the experience that you made, you're having currently, and what you've had in the past, and to see maybe people in a way through their interactions with you have showed that you matter more now. Is that what would you say? And again, we can even talk about our immediate family. Of course, we would say, well, they still love us. Yeah, they love us. But again, if you lose 130 pounds, there's going to be lifestyle changes that come with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think with the immediate family, I think that there is a emphasis on preparing meals better, in a better way, a healthier way, understanding the journey that I am on. I think my immediate family, and then some of my extended family, as far as cousins, aunts, and things of that nature, aunts, uncles, and stuff like that, I think we are all collectively pushing each other to be healthier.
Do you find yourself in more leadership roles in different avenues, different realms than 2 years ago?
I do.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Especially when it comes to work in particular, let's go to Ernest to get this done. Or if you have an issue with that, talk to Ernest. He'll help you figure it out.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, but that's an interesting observation. I just wanted to see if that's something that you've noticed.
Yeah. Because again, I don't know if that's about my size or if that's just about my intellect level. Being a VCU graduate and being as proficient in my job as I am.
But you were a VCU graduate 2 years ago.
Touche.
So again, it's just about the contrast. A lot of times people want to look for a direct, this is the direct pinpoint reason, and life's not about that. There's so many things that are intertwined and connected to where, yeah, we can look at we can look for trends of correlation, and if things are going in a certain way, then it's possible it has an influence.
Hmm.
Think about leadership roles in general. Look at those people. If you we have a thing with height. There's a thing with size. If you look at presidents, you look at CEOs, you look at team captains, you look at manager positions, you look at those things, and then you say, there now we are getting more diversity there. But I'll be on the other end and say there's a reason for some of these things. Some of it is just psychology, to where, yeah, you just think a tall person is smarter, or there's a range. Once you get to 7 feet or something, then there's an opposite effect. You could be a 7 foot brain surgeon, but then people think you're dumb because you're so tall. So again, I'm aware of these human responses to height. But again, once you're 6'3" compared to somebody that's 5'8", for some reason we respond to that person and think of that person more as a leader than the 5'8" person.
Hmm.
That's just how it is, pertaining to men. Um, but staying on topic, looking at weight. So let me ask you this: when you see a fit body, not skinny, if you're having trouble understanding difference between athletic and fit and skinny and thin, then you need to listen to some past episodes, because those things are not the same. If you see a person who has a fit body, what comes to mind for you? What are the things that you think? First glance, just go.
First glance, I would say that they work hard. They are motivated, dedicated. They put a lot of time and effort into maintaining their physical appearance.
Okay. So I have a different view because I have a more educated eye, but some of those things do come to mind. But I say, okay, that person has a great diet. I say that person does have a high activity level. And I said that person does care how they look. And it could be whatever combination of those things. There could be they're not all equally in there, but that's really what it is. You can't, when we say a fit athletic body, we're talking about men that are sub 15% body fat, 15% body fat and below, to where, again, you can see abs, you can see defined arms, you can see defined back, to where that person looks fit. We're not talking about, and that doesn't mean huge muscles like a bodybuilder. We're just talking about a person who looks athletic, a soccer player, even those people, a tennis player. They're not huge muscular guys, but they have low body fat percentages, and they look like they could run a mile without passing out. So when you see those things, that's what I think. I say that person eats real food. That person has a high activity level. They do things that are active, and they really take into account how much how they look. And then also, in conjunction with those things, as you said, they have a consistency, they work hard, they do all these things. So the things that you named, would those be things that you would want in a leader?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask this question: when you see a person who is BMI over 30, let's say, so we're not picking on anybody, let's say Ernest sees, let's say you hop in the time machine and you're walking around, you're trying to, what is it? You hopped in the
DeLorean?
In the DeLorean. You got the, what did Biff have? He was trying to,
the almanac.
Yeah, the almanac.
Yeah.
You're out there trying to play the lotto and all that stuff, right? And then you come across past Ernest, a person of that body type. What are the first things that come to mind?
That guy's handsome.
Okay.
So, first thing that come to mind.
You don't have to think. Again, when people have split second, you try to clean these things up, but just talk. because guess what? Whether you say it or not, that's how you feel. So it should be a 5-second response. What do you think when you see that guy?
That's a big guy.
Okay.
That's a big guy. Just that's honestly what it is. I honestly don't put any personal characteristics or personality traits. I don't associate any personality traits necessarily with that off of not knowing the person.
Why do you put them on the fit person?
I think because that is a goal. I think it's probably always been a goal of mine to be that person or to be a fitter person. And so when I look at that, I see what I am not. And so I don't.
When you say you are not, are you saying physically or those attributes?
Physically, I'm not, and because maybe I didn't have those attributes associated with maintaining my body.
Okay, so the first thought is when you see an athletic person, you go hardworking. What else did you say? You said consistent or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so those
were all attributes as to how they maintain their body.
Correct.
Right. So that's what the attributes.
But those are personality traits that you put upon them. So when you see a person who's not as fit, they're just neutral. They're just a blank slate. Or are they because there's no such thing as looking at a person having a blank slate. So you said that's a big guy. So do you see the inverse in those qualities that you named, or do you just? I mean, there's something. Give me 3 adjectives. Again, when you see that guy, you turn the corner. What do you say? You don't just say that's a big guy.
I honestly don't. Because I feel like that was me and that is me, and that's still a little bit. So, and I never wanted to be judged based off of my size, and so I try not to judge others based off of their size. If I see someone that is larger than me, as large as me, so maybe a little smaller than me, whatever the case may be, I tried not to pigeonhole them into.
Which is fair. So I guess my question is, why don't you do that for the fit person?
Because for the fit person, I felt, again, the attributes that I associated with the fit person were attributes that I perhaps wanted to instill in myself. Not perhaps, that I wanted to instill in myself as far as maintaining my body and to getting my fitness level a certain way. So when I saw that, I would think to myself, he or she is probably doing these things right.
Do you think that those traits apply outside of fitness for those people?
I don't know. Probably. I would say probably.
Okay.
More likely than not.
Okay. So for the most part, you believe that hardworking person, for the most part, he or she continues those qualities, whether it go into work or whether it go into family life, relationships, whatever it may be. You feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to give that person that credit and you're going to say that person probably is that way in general, and then you were saying in the past you did not want to be judged, are you saying that you were lacking in some of those areas?
Yes.
Okay. So if a person, so I'll give you again, so I didn't give mine. So when I see that person, what again, I have a more educated eye. When I see a person, if I hopped in the DeLorean with you and we come across the old Ernest and I see that person of that size, I'm going to say that's a person struggling with nutrition. They're either uneducated or they're unwilling. I see that that's a person that doesn't move much. And I see that that's a person, due to those reasons, they may have some other things going on, but that they are lacking in motivation, and it's probably hurting them in other areas of life. That's what I see. Because again, just from the hundreds of people I've worked with personally, just the experiences I have in my own life, again, all the other information and other resources that I've used for learning and other tools, that's what I see. So I didn't say that that person is dumb, that person, any of that things, but the same way you said that fit person, those things lean into their other parts of their life. You can't have it both ways. So a person who is not a person who we want to talk about their job, their family, those other things, if they are struggling and they have gotten to that state for their 30, their BMI is over 30, and they're not moving as much, they eat processed foods. That means that's quick and easy food, right? So is there an issue with time management? Do you just not want to cook? Why aren't you moving as much? And I guess there are larger people that do work out. I'm completely aware of this. That's why this is not the first two things I always have named when I see the fit person, nutrition. When I see the larger person, nutrition, because that's number one. But those traits go into other parts of life. So if we can admit that, and your person said that the last thing you want to do was judge other people, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're still saying that when you see somebody split second, again, you haven't got to know them, but you're pretty much giving an assumption to who they are, right? So if the fit person is getting the benefit of the doubt of having these more positive traits, and the unfit person, the person who is in that obese BMI, they're not getting those. Is that fair is my question. This is a real conversation.
Is it fair?
Because I believe for you to be part of this conversation gives it more validity, because it's easy for me to say, and somebody could look at it that way and say, all right, Wayne, well, you're an athlete. You just said you were, 130 pounds, going into high school or whatever. You don't know about this. Okay, that's fine. But I do know and have experiences and have a lot of data to pick from. But again, you have lived it. So
is it fair? No, it's not fair. But life itself isn't fair, right? So
I guess my question is, why is it not fair?
Because fair is balanced and equal. So why assume that just because someone is fitter, they're not?
But you just did it.
Exactly. But again,
and then the question is,
the fact that I did it doesn't mean it was fair. The fact that I did it doesn't mean it was equal.
You said that previously you were lacking in some of those areas that you said the fit person had.
When it came to health and fitness, yes.
But again, we know that health and fitness bleeds into other areas of life.
It can, yes.
It does. There's no separation. Your health and fitness directly impacts your life.
So someone lacking in physical fitness and habits to improve their physical fitness doesn't necessarily mean they're lacking in other positive traits.
I didn't say positive traits. What we're saying is, I'm just saying, if you've gotten yourself to
like motivation, right? Because you said maybe they're lacking in motivation, right? So someone who is lacking in motivation to exercise or improve their nutrition doesn't mean they're lacking in motivation in their profession. Doesn't mean they're lacking in motivation for caring for their family and and their children and things like that.
But it's not about motivation, but it's about the actual end product. You're not as good. So you may say
being not as good. I give it to you. Perhaps I'll give it to you.
So go ahead.
But that's an end product. But again, putting forth the effort.
That's I don't know. Do you agree that if you are not living your healthiest, fittest self, if you are in the BMI of 30 and over to where, I mean, again, let's just use your previous self as example. Did that size affect you in other areas in life? Family, job, performance, cleaning the house, activity level, energy level, things that you cared about, focused on things. Did that influence that?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if that influences that, then you're just not as good. So who's this? I mean, I don't think in the last 2 years you care more about your son than you did 2 years ago. I don't think that you can even measure that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just enormously high, whatever metric we want to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you? And you've said this. You feel like you are a better parent.
So when I was 400 pounds, we would come home from work and maybe I was tired because I wasn't doing the right things. So now I'm taking a nap, as opposed to, playing blocks or reading books or hanging out with him and wrestling and doing that type of stuff. Whereas now,
or taking him to the park and him doing the workouts that you've been doing.
As opposed to now, there's the fatigue isn't there because, there's my lifestyle is a better one where now I have more energy to do those types of things with him. Yeah. So that is an improvement. That is a non-physical metric of being healthier.
So in a way, it makes you a better dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. if if a kid had to choose and say, this guy takes me everywhere, has energy to play with me, all these things, and this other guy doesn't,
This other guy takes naps in the middle of the day.
Okay, so if I were to look at that person and say that person has the potential to be, so again, we don't know everybody and their whole life and all those things, but again, we're talking about the split second. So now, if I were to see the 400-pound Ernest and say, well, I'm pretty sure he loves his son, that's not a debate, but how much activity is he doing with his son? If his son gets up and sprints across the street, can he go get him? That's what I'm saying. So how is it unfair if a person is to have that, if they were to assume that, if they were to assume that, how is that not fair? Because we're not going to know everybody, but if your health and fitness bleeds into all other parts of your life, and when you are healthier and fitter, you become the superhero version of whoever you are. Now, you could be a lazy loser, or whatever you may be in terms of work ethic or whatever, and still have a six-pack. But a lot of times, when you're doing health and fitness the right way, you do see a change in people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you set it off the break. I see that person's hard work, and I see that person that's consistent. I see those different things, and then people treat you differently. They look at you differently, and then you're more likely to be in leadership role. Less likely than the person who, again, if we look at somebody and we go, all right, well, I see how that person eats at work. I see how that person doesn't really care that they are breathing hard after they come up the stairs every single day. And again, we're not talking about special populations of people who have things that they can't control. We're talking about people who can control this. Is it not fair to I don't want to say think less, but to challenge, or is it fair to just allow for the natural pecking order of group dynamics? because it's always going to happen. I've played on a number of teams. Every time there's a preseason, going through the season, even when we're just picking up players at pickup basketball, Ernest, things sort out. But we could be 10 strangers playing a 13-by-1. About 7 points into the game, we know who should be taking the last shots. We know who should be setting the screens and rebounding. Should you just shoot? Should you be a person who clearly doesn't have the basketball skills and you just start trying to do all types of different moves, knowing that you're not as skilled?
No, that person should not be.
But and guess what? They usually don't. They usually kind of fall in line, and the people that are more vocal, the people that are more skilled, the people that are more athletic, they kind of, everything sorts out. If you're a better passer, you wait and pick. If all you can do is shoot, you stand in the corner, you might get the last shot, but you're not trying to create off the dribble. You're just going to be like Steve Kerr. All right, catch and shoot. And that's what happens with group dynamics at work, whatever it may be. And that's kind of part of life of what I'm saying. But I think is when we look at a person and we see that, your physical makeup, why is it wrong? Because what you're saying is a lot of these assumptions are more often right. Or you're not saying that.
I don't think I said that.
Okay. Well, can you show me some examples of people who are in the 30s with their BMI and they are in leadership positions, and they have the full unbridled respect of people? I feel like that's rare.
Killer Mike.
A rapper?
He's a social activist also. Yeah.
If you look at Killer Mike, what do you think he does when he's not being an activist?
Rapping.
And if he's not rapping, what is he doing? So do you think?
Chilling.
So again, what you were doing when you were at the size you were. And so we're not making it, so we're not making this sugarcoating anything. When you're that size, you do things quick and easy. When you're that size, you cut corners. Yeah.
I'm shaking my head like okay, like they can hear me shaking my head. But yeah.
So that's obvious. The food is quick and easy. The activity level is quick and easy. I'm taking the elevator. I'm not taking the stairs. I'm gonna drive around this parking lot and get the closest spot before I park all the way back there. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen it, and a lot of times it's not a conscious decision. It's just what you do. Because you don't want to walk that far. You don't want to do these different things, or you got to find these reasons. And then there's a slippery slope to where then it's out of control. So not to pick on Killer Mike, but I mean, for him to be any type of leader, you're going to look at him and say, what type of personal accountability do you take in your life from a day to day? And
could you be led by someone that it was overweight or had a high body fat percentage?
So I'll give a personal story, and I think I've shared this before. When I was working as a membership manager, a sales manager in one of the big box gyms, there was a general manager who was my boss, and he was the leader of the whole gym. He was bigger than you were, Ernest, and had less muscle. He was clearly in the 450 pound range. Again,
a gym GM.
A gym GM. So, and it didn't even matter if we were selling cars. It didn't even matter if it was fitness. But what happened was this was a personal interaction job. So everywhere from the manager meetings, because we had fitness managers, we had kids club manager, we had the front desk manager, there was a pool manager, all those different people, and we would all meet together and have our thing. He did not have the respect of the gym. One, because he did not use it. He's not even using the own product that he sells. Two, people seen the stuff that he ate, that he brought in, and his work ethic was reflective of his body. I feel like, to where he was a lazier person. He was a person who did things the easy way. And when it came to selling gym memberships, guess who he leaned on? Me.
Mhm.
Because again, it's not that it's unfair. Is it wrong for a person to come ask for a gym membership, or a person who's on the fence
Mhm.
trying to buy a gym membership? Is it wrong for them to more likely buy it from me than him? And the crazy part was, I was not as fit as I am now. It was just in an area where it's not as fit and as competitive as Arlington. But again, I've never been unfit, and I was wearing a polo shirt. You could just see that I had an athletic build. And
Had that Nutrisystem uniform on. The polo and the khakis.
The polo, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the business cash.
Yeah.
So but that person was more likely to buy it from me. And there were times where he would say, "No, you can take this one, Wayne." Now, we worked in a commission-based environment, to where the previous general manager before him, she was taking a lot of stuff because she wanted that money.
Right.
He knew, in the best interest of the gym and the team, and he made more money, so he didn't need as much commission, but he knew, in best interest of the gym, it was better for people to be in front of me than to be in front of him. And it could have, my sales skills probably were better, but again, it goes hand in hand. Maybe my sales skills are better because I have confidence, because I know that I look fit. We can't pinpoint it, right? But
Right.
At the end of the day, I sold gym memberships better than my 400-pound boss, who had been in the industry longer than me.
Right.
And I worked.
So,
go ahead.
So his work ethic and his nutrition habits and the things you saw him do is what made you guys kind of lose respect for him, or
no, the minute he came through the door, there was eyebrows raised.
What if he did use the gym facilities? What if he did eat healthier, and he's still 400 plus until he loses that weight? Because when you see somebody, you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And so, based off of when you see a fit person, you can assume that they're doing the right things and they're making the right choices on the nutrition side and things like that, right? Because their body reflects that. When you see a larger person, we don't know where they're at, where they are at in their journey.
Correct.
Right? And so,
but we know what they've been doing.
We know what they've been doing. We know what they have done. Right. And so, So with that, I guess that's another thing with me, because I was in that high BMI range for 6 to 8 months before I got down to maybe even more, maybe a year before I really got down to a point where it was, under that 30. Yeah. And so for that time period where I am improving myself, I'm still quote unquote fat, right? I'm still
but you're doing the right things. You're doing the right things.
Right. But if you just see me turning the corner, you don't know that. And so you assume that I am less than, right? You assume that I am unmotivated. You assume that I am not hardworking. You assume that those things are still part of who I am because my body is in that condition, because I put my body in that condition, sure, but that's might not be who I am.
When you're saying that you were in the moment making those changes, we're talking about a time frame of, even if we use from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 year, going on 2 year time frame.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I am 35 years old.
Okay, so again, if I were to look at and to make a judgment based on data and say, hey, that's awesome that you're losing and you're getting to this point. Again, the question is, well, for the bulk of your life, and people change all the time, but for the bulk of your life, you were this way. So is it fair for somebody to say, I would like before I give you the benefit of doubt of having all these traits, I would like to see you do that for longer.
I mean, I guess you can ask for anything.
Well, I mean, is that fair? Because I mean, if you take a basketball player and his first 3 years, he's averaging 7 points a game, and then he starts averaging 14. Are we going to say, wow, he's going to average 14 for the rest of his career? Or are we going to say, well, we need to see what happens next year because he might go back to 7, might go to 10, but we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt because the data says this is new for you.
But the benefit of the doubt in this situation is just a level of respect, right? So why not give me the same level of respect that you would give someone else because you don't know?
Well, I don't know you.
Exactly. So why not?
But you're not doing it either.
I'm not doing what either? Respecting myself?
No, not yourself. I'm talking about when you as a person who's gone through this transformation yourself, you see another person. And you said when you see the big guy, the only thing that goes in your head is, oh, that's a big guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a respectful comment.
It's not disrespectful.
Okay, that's what I said. It's neutral. It's just this blank state because Ernest doesn't he doesn't have it. So, but when you see the fit person, you gave them all those qualities.
I never said that they would be a leader or they are, you know.
But we know what leaders look like on average.
Right, but that's not to say that someone who on average is not a leader because they don't fit that mold.
It is, because the statistics say they aren't.
No, statistics says that those people get the opportunities to lead. They're put in leader because you're putting in a leadership position. Sure, that the statistics shows you who's put in leadership positions. The statistics doesn't show you who's capable of leading.
Correct. But right. you can't show what you can do if you don't get in the game.
You can't. But and then now whose fault is that those people aren't getting in the game?
If I'm looking at you from not knowing you, I don't follow you around 24/7, and I'm judging you by the way you look because that's just how it's always going to be. And I look at you and I say, you cut corners, you do things quick and easy. And this other person may do the same. They may do the same, this other fit person. But think about all the things that you've said on this podcast that you've done. The time management, the sacrifice, the waking up early, the changing, the shopping, the buying new shoes, the change, all those things that you've done, you weren't doing 2 years ago. So why would I, to be completely honest, why would I say this person who you are now and that person previously are the same? Because I don't think you feel that way.
My lifestyle is different. Yes.
Because you are different.
Because I am different. But a lot of
you are stronger inside. And when we see the not as fit person, would you say they have the same inner strength?
I did not. Yeah. So I know I did not have the same.
So if that's the case, is it fair for me, a person on the outside looking, is it fair for me to assume that or that's wrong? Should I, when I'm picking leaders, and we don't have to, stay on this leader thing, but if I'm picking people, even if I'm selecting a team to go do something, and I want to select the best candidates, and of course, resumes and things matter, and looking at previous history. But again, if I need to make a decision, and I say I want that person who looks like they put more into themselves, because they probably have these traits, because you're rolling the dice either way. But statistics say I got a better chance of winning if I pick that guy versus that guy. Is that fair? Because I think we all do that in life.
Yeah, I would say so. I can agree.
So
unfortunately, I have to agree.
I mean, but this is the part where if we were discussing something that we couldn't control, but again, this is something that we can control. Go back to the part when you're saying, when you see this person, you don't know where they're at in their journey. 100% agree. So when it comes to somebody saying, do you matter? Or are you doing the best things for yourself? If you have identified that this is an issue, you've addressed your nutrition, you've addressed your health, you're getting more movement, and you said, hey, this is not the thing that I want for my life. I just happen to be starting my journey. Respect, because that means you have made some changes, you've identified things you need to change, and now you're taking the steps forward. So I have the utmost respect for anybody within their journey. Uh, but I guess I'm talking about now is the people who either don't know or they know and they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So to take it back to the title, I guess my question is, if you know that you need to make changes and you're not making those changes, how do you feel about yourself? What do you think? A person who knows they need to make these changes, they've been to the doctor numerous times, and they're currently right now not listening to our podcast, not working out, not eating healthy, and they're pretty much chilling.
I know for me, it was like, I got time, or it's not as important, or they don't care.
Or they don't care. So if you don't care about your own health and fitness, your own well-being, how long you're going to be on this planet, like we said, the things that bleed into all the other aspects of life, whether it be relationships, parenting, job related, your performance is not as high in those areas, and you know that, and you're not doing anything about it, you can't really say you have a high self-esteem. You can't really say that you said you just don't care. Now, there are reasons for that, but without talking about the reasons right now, or potential reasons, what are you telling people who either know you and see you not doing anything about it, or people who don't know you? What are you telling them?
That you don't care,
That you don't care about yourself.
or your appearance at a minimum.
But it is not your appearance, because when you're in that BMI, your health is directly correlated, right? So
Right.
again, please, anybody who's listening to this, Ernest, you were somebody who was lucky, because again, probably because of your age, you weren't, there was no hypertension or diabetes or anything like that, but you were getting close. And there was the sleep apnea that they were proposing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or what's it? The CPAP. Excuse me. They were proposing use a CPAP.
Yes. Yep.
So
I actually had a CPAP machine. I think I used it twice. It was maybe about 5 times.
So if you were currently to this day still using it, meaning that you still had the same habits that you had before, and now you're going, you're 35, and they gave it to you. What was this? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Okay.
Yeah, 2.5.
So, and you're still doing this every night. All I see is when you walk out the door, I just see you, right? I just see your body. I don't know that you have a CPAP in your house. Now, me being an educated person, I know that the larger you are, the more likely you are to have one. Not everybody thinks that way. But what I'm saying is, you're telling me that you don't fully have the skills. You're not putting your foot forth to making changes. And really, you just don't really care about yourself. And that's now there are reasons why. So I guess my question is, if you find yourself in that zone, maybe the first step is not health and fitness in terms of changing your diet, joining a gym, possibly therapy would be the first step to improvement. Because I know for a fact, if you are in that BMI, you've tried to lose weight before, right? Everybody
Yeah.
is not. I'm not naive to think that. Well, you've never tried. No, you've tried, and you just weren't able to follow through. Whatever hurdles that are individual to you, they tripped you up. So more than likely that's what's going on upstairs, and that's probably some emotional issues, some things that maybe stem from childhood. There's some things that stem just from your normal your ecosystem, family, and maybe you need to talk to somebody to get those things out, because you can't change the physical without changing the mind. You can listen to our podcast till the cows come home. You can go get certified as a trainer, because believe it or not, there are trainers who are overweight. There are trainers who are obese. They have the information. So what's stopping them from being in a healthy body fat percentage or a healthy BMI? Either or. What's stopping them? What's going on upstairs? What's going on emotionally? So it's
Yeah.
not here to, it's here to beat up on people, but if you find yourself not able to follow through, you need to dig deeper and say, what's going on? And that might be the step that you need to go get help. So again, if I'm talking to a person, they're like, yeah, I've been in therapy for 6 months to work on not just food, but just everything that's kind of going on. Respect, because you're working towards it.
Right.
But if you're sitting at home saying, I don't need no therapy, I'm just going to try the plank challenge next week. it after 7 days, it's over. I'm just going to do the pea soup diet.
Mm-hmm.
And you've failed 18 times with all these different fads. You're saying, and people are going to see by your outer appearance, by the things that you say, by the things that you eat. They're going to say, well, this person doesn't really care about themselves. So now, if you are showing that you don't really care about yourself, how can you expect somebody else to care about you?
Yeah.
Like it's you can't expect that from strangers, from coworkers, from teammates, from people, because you're there's a phrase, you teach people how to treat you. And if I see you destroying yourself, and unfortunately some people kind of hide it. We have let's look at the celebrities. Lizzo. There's a recent actress that I just seen who made some big changes. Her name is well, I can't remember her actual name, but she was in Pitch Perfect, and now that person has made some changes. She's made some changes recently where she's lost the weight, and it was because I believe she had turned 40.
Rebel Wilson.
And she is losing weight, and she said this was my year goal. She said COVID hit and I'm making these changes, because they come, the things come knocking at that age, right? Once you hit 35, 36, 37, going into 40, your body can only take so much abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And she flipped the switch. We've seen the same thing happen with Monique, the comedian, the actress. There was years and years and years that she built her platform, and she told everybody. She used to do bits about, skinny women this, skinny people that, right? I'm this way. But if you look her up now, she said, oh my God, this is the first time I've been under 200 pounds. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. Interesting. Yeah. Adele. This was a person who was on the larger side. Now look at her. She almost looks like a different person.
I didn't know that was her when I saw the picture.
So we're looking at these people who were doing these things previously, and they started their journey and said, there's no reason for this. When you're that size and you're not doing anything to change about it, because my personal belief is Lizzo is going to make some changes. She's probably what, early 30s, I'm assuming.
I think she
might be late 20s.
Yeah.
She's going to make the changes. She has the resources. She has the people in her ear, and she's
32.
32, early 30s. it's going to change, and it's going to change soon, because your body can only take so much. And the things that you've shared, Ernest, it seems like you're having more fun than you were having then. She really looks like she's having fun now, right? People go, she's so confident. She's so this, she's so that. That may be. She could still be those things in a healthy body fat percentage and a healthy BMI. She'll be even more
so. Yeah.
Exactly. Even more so. So I think right now what she's telling me and telling people is, she may not be saying I don't matter, but through her actions, she's saying my health doesn't matter, because she does not say anything about I'm in the journey. It's all so what. If your angle and your theme of whatever's going on, and all you can share is so what. And I've seen her post workout stuff and all that, but again, and I think she's kind of confused. Maybe she wants to keep those initial fans without feeling like she's made a complete 180. So that's different with her. But again, if your message isn't health based, your message isn't I'm in the journey, I want to be better for myself, I want to be better for my family, the why, which is, what you've shared on here, then you're basically saying I don't care about myself. So when you go on the streets and somebody looks at you funny, or somebody assumes things of you, how can you expect them to give you the blank slate or to give you the benefit of the doubt when you're showing them that you don't care about yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Then you had the Gucci man glow up. Gucci.
Yeah.
Rick Ross.
I mean, these are so at a certain point, and these are people with the resources to make those changes a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. They don't, the trainers, the chef, whatever it is, they don't have an issue with that. But we're talking about just regular people. If you punch in the clock every day, you go to Taco Bell every day, you come home and eat your Hungry Man dinner every day, drink your 6-pack every day, and you know that your work pants are getting smaller and smaller, and you just go buy some new ones. What is that? That's not self-love. Is that self-love?
No. That's just, no.
We know how the food makes us feel. All these different things that have changed, right? In terms of energy level, just all these different things. So if we're doing this to ourselves consistently, it's like, wow, that person doesn't really care. So I'm going to, whether it be picking a partner for romantic reasons, whether it be picking a partner to work with on a school project, whether it be any of these different things, they're going to see with their eyes and make an assumption. And I believe that you shouldn't be rude to people, but for somebody to kind of do that mental calculation and say what's going on and say, you know what, I'd rather roll the dice over here. Is that fair? Because when you're on the other end, don't you want the benefit of the doubt?
What do you mean?
Okay, so let's say your physique is completely different, but it is.
Thank you, Wayne.
It is.
I appreciate that.
People tell me, I'm like, stop talking about Ernest. Shit, what about me? I look good. No, I'm joking. but seriously, so you continue on this path, which I don't think you aren't, because again, you're in that place where it's just lifestyle now. You get to that place, right? Mm-hmm. Would you want somebody to be like, I guess he's hardworking. I don't know. Probably. You'd be like, what? You know how much work I did to look like this? You would, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Stop making good points.
You would be like, hold up. You're just gonna assume that I worked hard to look like this, to lose over 100 pounds, 130 pounds, no surgeries, no fasting, no craziness. seriously, straight up, like you did it the most healthy way possible, and mentally as well, because now
Right.
you don't have to remove yourself from some unsustainable habits. You're still in a good place habit wise.
Mhm.
So, and I'll say the same thing for myself. When somebody sees me and they see my business, they see the things that I do, I want them to say that guy works hard. I think they should assume that, like, he works hard, he puts time and energy into his body, his business, you know, being a parent, all these different things, whatever it is, they're gonna say, okay. And if it goes one way, it's got to go the other way.
Right. Right. So if I can see it. So if you can look at me and assume that I'm hard work,
You ever seen The Wire?
I've seen the why.
To quote Marlowe, when he looked at that security guard and he said, "You want it one way, but it's the other way." You remember that one?
I don't remember that episode.
That was later, like season 4, maybe season 5. And he told him, I think it was season 4. He said, "You want it one way, but it's the other way."
Mm.
and it is. It's the other way to where. Go ahead and make your point.
So the benefit of the doubt. So I guess what you're saying is, why not have the world assume you are hardworking or you're great just based off of your initial reaction and appearance, instead of having them wait to see you perform necessarily, right? Because now you're missing it. So if they can just look at you and assume that you have the ability to do whatever they may need or require from you,
Yeah.
before they actually see you do it, you now have the opportunity to now show your worth, as opposed to them having to see and prove before they give you an opportunity to be for more.
Correct. Yeah, you still have to be a good person. You still have to have the skills. But if you see somebody who is, walking down the beach with a six pack, you're gonna have your assumptions, especially if they're not 16. We're talking about somebody who is, well, once you're in a fit body fat percentage and you're in your early 30s, even late 20s, you're I mean, we're in America now. You're almost an anomaly. To where it's like, what team do you play for? It's
Right.
like, no, I'm a regular person. I just happen to eat real food and exercise. Like, seriously, we've gotten to that point. So yeah, if you stand out like that, then maybe there's proof behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
most people know what they're not doing, and
correct.
So
And
if you look like that, I know what you're not doing. You're not.
And this is one of the only things you can't buy.
Mm.
This is the only. I mean, really, you can't buy this. You can't buy health. You can't buy muscles. You can't buy a low body fat percentage and still look like a natural person. We have these Instagram people and people getting calf implants and women doing body shapers and body sculpting and all this stuff, but they don't look natural. There's guys who do the stuff that they put in their arms. You've seen some of these guys. A lot of them aren't even they're from other countries and stuff like that, but they look like Popeye. It doesn't look natural.
Right.
And then you got people who use steroids. But guess what? You don't just use steroids and go to sleep. You use steroids and work out in the gym hard, day after day after day after day. You just get there a little bit quicker than a person who's natural, but you still put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, when you see that fit body, you know that there's discipline, there's hard work, there's perseverance, and you know that when that person hit a brick wall or a plateau, they push through. Because it doesn't even matter their starting point. Again, I've never been, in the 30 BMI. I've never been obese, but my body fat has fluctuated due to my habits, and I had to work to get to where I am. even being from skinnier, being a teenager, then playing basketball, then not playing basketball, and going back into fitness, my body's changed. But my body's where it is because of what I do, my habits. You cannot buy a six-pack. You can go get liposuction, you can go get whatever, but you're going to look at them and go, that looks weird. I mean, you ever seen some of these E-channel shows, and some of these people, they have, again, they get the six-pack sculpted, but their arms look kind of flabby. It's like the reverse dad bod.
Right.
It's like, how you got a six-pack, but your arms don't got no veins?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. And you've probably done some long-term damage to your body. So that's why you get the utmost respect. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. You see a homeless guy that's ripped with muscle, you go, what's he do? Like, okay. And the same thing, you see a guy who's a CEO and he's ripped. You go, dang, man, you still got time to be fit and you run a business? And that's why those people are high achieving, high earners, and people that are doing things that they're not time wasters. It's the inverse of those bad habits that we talked about. They're not cutting corners. They're not doing things quick and easy, and they've invested in themselves. So if we can say that about somebody who, again, you can't buy a healthy body, and you see that, and then you see somebody else who has the opposite, why is it wrong to assume that they don't do those things? Now, I think for you, when you, even within your first 3 months of making the change, people had the utmost respect for you because they seen your habits. They said, wow, he's sticking with this. So they're like, okay, I like it, man. Good job, right?
Right.
And they're commending you on your habits, on your traits. They weren't complimenting you on your body 3 months into your process, right?
No, yeah.
Right. Hey, man, you look awesome. You lost 10 pounds. You're 390. They weren't saying that to be 100%, right? But They were like, that's awesome that you have the perseverance. You have the time management. You're not even messing around with us. Hey, I'm Jim. You're not eating my donuts. Like, man, you're killing it, Ernest. And that's why they have maybe a raised level of respect for you. It's not to say that they didn't have respect for you. It's to say that now they respect you more. And if it comes into the job, everybody's human. You can't separate the two. Now, how I feel about you with that, you go, man, this guy, I see, some people, they have gyms at their job, right? And then they got that one person that comes in, works out, takes a shower, and they're at work before most people. How is that person normally looked at by the peers?
Go getter, motivated.
Yeah, they're like, I wish I could do that. They do that whole thing. That's just how it is. That's how it is. So yeah, I just think that yes, if you want people to treat you like you matter, you have to be in your own journey to improving yourself and getting to a place so that others have no choice but to feel that way. So that there's some accountability there. And if you're not holding yourself accountable and you're not willing to do that, then you kind of get what you get, right?
You have to assess whether or not you matter to yourself.
Nobody's going to treat you better than you treat yourself.
Say that again.
It's just not. Nobody's going to treat you better than you treat yourself. So if you go out in the world and you want people to treat you better than you treat you, you're delusional. And you're fighting a losing battle. And maybe that type of thinking is why you're in the place you're in. Because there's no people that are, whatever phrase you want to use, go-getters and leaders and people that are just really getting after it and making things happening. Those people treat themselves great. They feel great about themselves because no matter what, when you go out in the world, somebody's going to treat you less than you want to be treated. Nobody's immune to that. You could be Bill Gates, LeBron James, Serena Williams. You could be anybody in the world. Somebody's going to treat you less than you want to be treated, right?
Yep.
But when you have all the things in your favor in terms of high self-esteem and all the habits that go into place to where you feel better about yourself, it doesn't really matter as much. It doesn't. Somebody threw a shoe at Obama, didn't they?
I think that was Bush. I remember Bush getting. Yeah.
Man throws shoes at Bush.
He threw two of them out. Bush hit him with the Matrix though. Dodge that joke twice. If you could dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Oh, okay. So there was a woman. Oh, she was the Arizona governor. She got up in Obama's face with her finger pointed, and she was pointing in his face like,
right, scolding him.
Scolding him. The president. She's scolding him. Yeah. Do you think that bothered him? Maybe a little, but I don't think it ruined his day. Because he said, you know what? I got a lot going for myself. I'm getting a lot done over here. And then the same thing with the other president, the guy who threw the two shoes at Bush. I think he had the same reaction. This person is a nut because I'm on top, and I'm doing things that I feel are right, and I'm taking care of myself, my family, whatever it is. I'm a leader. So if you're doing those things, you're going to feel that way, and you're going to pretty much tell everybody and give them no choice but to say, "Oh, that person matters. He matters."
Mm-hmm.
You give people no choice but to say, "You matter," and starting with your own health, taking your own health into account, is going to allow for that to happen. So I don't think the point of this conversation was ever to say that anybody doesn't matter or to shame people or anything like that, but it's to have more self-reflection and say, why is it that maybe I'm being treated a way I don't want to be treated? And if that is the case, then say, how do you treat yourself? Not treat yourself, but how do you treat yourself? Because there's a thing, I forgot where I got this, but they said that you don't see any fat old people. I know old is a subjective word, but we're talking late 70s, 80s, 90s. You don't really see 300-pound 90-year-olds.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's real.
So living healthy, taking things into account, living your best life is going to allow for you to pretty much force people to make sure that you matter, and nobody has to tell you that you matter because you know you matter. You know, you don't need a sign, you don't need a commercial or anything. You go, I know I matter because I kill it every day.
Yeah.
I get after it. I get compliments. Even the people who don't give me compliments, I know that I'm doing what matters to me. And what matters to me is actually the right things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you say to, somebody who might still after this conversation may have some issues with, even us just addressing the title and maybe being what I may perceive as hypersensitive, but maybe not others. What would you say to them?
I would say look at yourself, have them look at themselves, and really determine whether the steps are being taken to improve their fitness levels, right? And if it's not for them, it's for maybe someone that they may say, well, this is offensive to, a family member or a friend, or this could affect, how they might feel about themselves or whatever the case may be. But really look deep and dig deep and figure out, are they doing the things necessary to improve their health, to improve their well-being, to improve their fitness levels, right? To remove these preventable diseases, to remove uh, the higher percent chances of hypertension and sleep apnea and those types of things. Are you taking care of yourself to the point where other people should care about you? Again, like you said, you can't expect other people to care about you more than you care about yourself. You can't expect other people to love you more than you love yourself. I will always say, like with my wife, I love my wife. My wife loves me. She does not complete me. I had to be a complete person in order to grow with her. She has to be a complete person in order for her to grow with me. We have to come together and then just as two complete people in order to rise to that occasion, right? So coming into any type of situation, you have to be whole within yourself uh, and not expect other people to give you that validation uh, or to make it so that you are important or felt to be important, right? You have to know within yourself that you are important.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. To where, you have to be there. You have to be there yourself already,
Mm-hmm.
and I think getting to that point for some people takes work, some more than others, but you have to put in work and look within, and if you're not there, actively seek resources, actively seek tools, people, to where you can get the help that you need so that you can be that best version of yourself inside, and then everything else will just be a byproduct of it.
Absolutely.
I think there is a stigma, unfortunately, with some people to where they believe that people exercise because they don't like themselves.
Mm.
Yeah, there's exercise, there's exercise addictions, there's food addictions, there's healthy food disordered eating, there's a lot of different things like that. But again, that's a small class of people, to where, and unfortunately, when you see those people, it's actually a little bit more obvious than you think as well, because to be you can just see it. You can see it through the habits. You can see it through the body, to where maybe somebody's body weight is too low. Yeah, the same way we're saying somebody's BMI is too high and they're unhealthy. Yes, you can be underweight. You can be underweight and it's unhealthy. So this is no way saying that people who are at healthy BMIs, people that are at healthy body fat percentages, cannot get sick. We're not saying that people just use myself for example, 6'1", around 15% body fat, 210 pounds, whatever. And if you take that person, there's people with my exact profile that do get diabetes. There's people who do have hypertension. There's people who, whatever other things come along, they do get that. They do. There's people who, that is a thing. But aren't those people outliers? Those people are outliers. They're not. That's not the norm.
Mm.
So again, we're not here to talk so much about outliers. We're talking about, if you get yourself in the healthy zone, you're giving yourself the best chance. And really, after that, you can't do anything else. Just giving yourself the best chance. If you're actively staying in a high body fat percentage, which I call the red zone, the danger zone, or if you are in that 30 BMI and you're hanging out there, you're not giving yourself the best chance, and the likelihood of all these other things increases. It's just statistics. So first, if your response to this podcast is, well, athletic looking people get sick too. You're right. You're right. But what are the odds? What are the odds? And I look at it like this. If somebody says, hey, we got 2 parachutes, you're going to jump out the plane. This one is 99% effective. This one's about 15% effective. We already know which one you're going to choose. I feel lucky today. I just have faith. I'll take the 15%. Just have faith.
All right.
I don't know this company. That's all the stuff we say about people. Or, you don't know me. You don't know what's going on in my body. And you're, again, whatever pounds overweight. So again, it's very important that we're not saying that people who are in a healthy body fat percentage or in a healthy BMI are perfect. They are invincible. They're going to live to their 100. They can't get sick. I'm not saying that. We're just saying that you greatly decrease the odds and you can live a longer life, a healthier life, a better quality of life. And what comes with that, whether it be fair or not, is how people treat you.
Right.
So let's wrap it up and answer the question. Do fat lives matter?
Yes, if they are taking care of themselves and working towards a healthier body or a healthier lifestyle.
They're all the same. And that's the beauty of this thing. They're all intertwined. You don't have a healthy lifestyle without a healthy body, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to answer the question, my answer is yes, they do. If you are doing the things to show that you matter. If you are self-destructive, then people aren't going to think that you matter. Think about if we switch it with anything else. And again, I don't want to compare. I mean, there is food addiction. There is food addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So I will compare this. What if it was a narcotic or a hard drug, a heroin or something? If somebody was strung out on heroin for 20 years, would you say, oh man, that person really cares about themselves?
Right. Do heroin lives matter?
Yeah. The way you would look at somebody and say, man, that person is not doing the right things. They're in and out of rehab. Yeah. And it's not their fault and they need to get therapy and those things. But again, you're just not going to have the highest opinion of that person. So you kind of get what comes with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a nice little comeback episode.
Yeah, man.
Of Stronger
feels
Inside.
Good. Feels good to get back in the podcast saddle.
Shake the rust off. There we go, towing the line again of getting canceled on our first episode back. That's how I like it. Get the people talking. So
let us know what you think. Let's get some feedback on the Instagram page, the Facebook page.
Let us know how you like the new logo, the new look.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to get back to posting a little bit more on the social media. Sometimes
you want that merch. You want that merch, let us know too. We might have something for you in the future.
Yeah, real soon. That's coming real soon. So until next time, we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Stronger Inside podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, follow us. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, then subscribe. Make sure you stay connected with us via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Stronger Inside Podcast. Remember, every like, comment, and share spreads the message of health, fitness, and wellness.